Okay, this is just a little video to help you know what's being asked for actually on this quiz 13. It says complete the table by finding values of x and y that work. Plot the points and draw a line exactly through the points. Well, it's going to be a multiple choice test and I'm not going to have the graphs on there. So what I am going to do is I am going to ask for a certain value of x and you'll have to tell me what the value of y would be. So we're going to run through a couple of them here. For instance, if I put 0 in for x, well, then that becomes 1/2 times 0, y would equal 0. If I put 1 in for x, I put 1 in here, 1/2 times 1 is 1/2, y equals 1/2. And if I put 2 in for x, I put 2 in there, 1/2 times 2 equals 1, y equals 1. And I'm going to ask you for another value, and you'll have to tell me, I'll give you the value of x, and you'll have to tell me what would the value of y be. So it'll be something, it might be one of these, or it might be something very close to that, so you should be able to figure it out. Same thing over here. If I put 0 in for x here, y equals 0 plus 3, which is 3. If I put 1 in for x, y equals 1 plus 3, which is 4. And if I put 2 in for x, y equals 2 plus 3, which equals 5. So I'll be giving you a value of x, maybe one of these three, maybe another one, but you should be able to use something similar here and find the new value of y. I will not be using these. However, if we were going to graph these, remember they go x, y, so 0, 0 would be one of these. X being 1, y being 1/2 would be right here. And x being 2, y equal 1 would be right here. And we would draw a line through there, and it would look something like that. Over here, we would have 0, 3. So when x is 0, y equals 3. When x is 1, y equals 4. When x is 2, y equals 5. And we would draw a line through that. And it would look like that. Now, I won't be asking for these, but that is how you graph the points that we came up with. Down here, it says, just find the slope of the line. You just need m equals whatever. So remember, slope is going to be in the form of a fraction. Sometimes that fraction simplifies to a whole number. But here we have either rise over run, or you could do change in y over change in x. But how much did this, from left to right, how much did this go up? 0. And how much did it go over? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 over 4. 0 over 4 is the same as, and you should have known, because this is a horizontal line, we learned that a horizontal line has a slope of, I'm not going to say what it is, but let's just say it rhymes with Miro. Over here, same kind of thing. Remember, rise over run. And here we go, up 1, 2, 3. So the rise is 3. And the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is not one of the answers that's going to be on the multiple choice. But remember, you can simplify that to get the slope. Number 5, which is the steeper slide? Well, A has a rise 3 and run 2. So the slope of A is 3 over 2. B has rise 5, run 3. Now we could graph it on this right here to see which one is the steeper, but we could also just find a common denominator here. So this would be common denominator of 6, multiply by 3, 9 over 6, multiply by 2, 2, multiply by 2, 10 over 6. So steeper slope because it's a bigger number. Number 6. The equation of a line is y equals 2x minus 3. Write the slope of the line that is parallel to this line. Well, first, where is the slope represented in this equation? Remember, the slope is right here. So the slope of this equation, this line right here, is 2. So now going back here, if the slope of a parallel line, remember parallel lines have the same slope. So the slope up here is 2, and I'm not going to tell you what this is, but it'll be the same as that. So this one was 2, and this is the same thing, but I'm not going to tell you what it was. This is a perpendicular line. So it's the negative reciprocal. So if we take 2, and we want to have its reciprocal, remember 2 is the same as 2 over 1, so the reciprocal would be 1 over 2. But we want it to be the negative reciprocal, so now we have to make it a negative. So if the slope of this is 2, the negative reciprocal, for perpendicular, means flip over the fraction and make it negative. So this would be negative 1 over 2. And the last kind of problem, it's 3 problems, but the cost, y, in dollars, to provide food for guests at a dinner party is proportional to the number of guests, x, attending the party. It costs $50 to provide food for 4 guests. So write an equation that represents the situation. Well, we know that $50, y, is what it costs for 4 guests. Number of guests, 4 guests. And then we have this constant of direct variation that goes in there, but we put m. It's proportional. Okay, so 50 equals whatever that cost is times 4. So there's our equation. Well, we want to find out what m equals. So we divide both sides by 4. And m equals 50 divided by 4 is $12.50. So now that we know what m equals, we can write an equation that we can solve for any of them. We put in y over here. We now know what m equals, $12.50. Times 4. And actually it's just $12.50, not times 4. We're going to put x now. $12.50 times x. So now, no matter how many guests we have, if somebody came up and said, hey, we have 13 guests, how much is it going to cost? Well, we just put 13 in here. We have our $12.50 multiplier. We can spit out how much it would actually be for all those guests. Interpret the slope. So what is this? Here's the slope right here. And what does that slope mean? Remember, interpret the slope means put units on it. So it would be $12.50 what? Not just dollars per guest. Per guest. And now, how much does it cost to provide food for 5 guests? Well, you'll put 5 in for x. You'll do this multiplication and find out how much money it costs for 5 guests. And I'll be asking for that one for sure. Excellent. Well, hopefully that helped you. If you watch this, maybe take notes on it or whatever. When you go to take this quiz, it should be relatively easy for you. Good luck.